All right, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel. And today, well, we got all of the decks from the Monterrey Regionals. Monterrey Regionals here live on Limitless. We're going to go through all of the decks that made day two. There's a lot of decks still that made day two here. This was a 1,300 player regional, so actually fairly large. So we're going to go through the decks, see what did well in this tournament, see what meta developments there have been. Of course, we do have Milwaukee in like 2 weeks' time, so it's pretty important to look at the results from this tournament and see what is going to be good heading into the Milwaukee Regional Championships. Now, if y'all are new to the second channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We're on the road to 23K subs. I'll leave a link to Limos down below if you want to go check out any of the decks for yourself. Let's get into it. So, we'll talk about the top 8 first. Obviously, the top 8 was pretty interesting, actually. We had a decent bit of diversity compared to what we saw at Atlanta. There obviously was Dragapult still, and Gardevoir, but it is actually interesting because some cool stuff made it into top 8. Now, Brent Tonneson was able to win the regional with his Gardevoir deck. Might be the same 60 or very close to what he played to Atlanta. He's got the Cleffa still in there, Secret Box, Drifloon, 3 Monkey Dory. I think he just added a Turo or something to the deck, or whatever the case may be. But Brent did run it back with Guardy, and he was able to win the regional. This is now a back-to-back victories for Gardevoir EX in the new format, which is actually kind of insane. He was able to beat Fernando Cifuentes in the finals. Fernando, of course, is the world champion. So the world champion almost won a regional, which is honestly really cool. And you know what makes it even better? He almost won the regional with Blissey EX on Easter. That would have been insanely poetic. Now, Blissey is a very fun deck to play. And this is the first time I think it's actually had like a good result. I think one of the issues with Blissey is that it kind of struggled against like some of these other big beatstick decks. But now that Dragapult is popular, this deck kind of farms Dragapult. As you can see, it plays 4 Monkey Dory. The whole gimmick of the deck is you just kind of sponge hits with Blissey, reflect damage with Monkey Dory. You can do some really cool plays with Roaring Moon. You have your own Cornerstone to help fix the Goldengo matchup, which is a lot harder for Blissey to manage. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. It's awesome to see Blissey almost take down a regional. This is Blissey's time to shine. If you want to play Blissey, you know, play it now. Fernando's list is pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. We did have a Terra Box in top 4. Another deck that has been on the decline is Terra Box, but we did see it manage to make top 4 nonetheless. This list here looks pretty normal. There's a few changes. I see a Brock Scouting, which is not something you usually see in Terra Box. The Cornerstone's in there. But other than that, I mean, it's just kind of a normal Terra Box deck. There's a Jamming Tower. I guess that's the difference. Yeah, there's a Jamming Tower in there, too, for some disruption in the Guardy matchup, which Terra Box tends to have a close Guardy matchup, so having the Jamming Tower does help. I don't know. Terra Box making top 4 is going to put the deck more on the map. We will have to see. Now, things get interesting when we look at the Goldengo decks in top 8. So, 2 Goldengo made it in top 8, but it was actually Goldengo Dragapult here, played by both Grant Shen and Caleb Rogerson. They both played this Goldengo Dragapult 60. There's a lot of people actually on the deck that made day 2, but it was dubbed Pengo here. We see it is Dragapult Dengo with no Crispin. It's actually just kind of a normal Goldengo deck with the 3 Cypher, 4 Arvin. There's no Crispin or anything like that in the deck. Like, we've been seeing a lot of that in these Dengo Dragapult decks to really try to utilize Phantom Dive, but in this build, there's just no Crispin. There is just no way to accelerate energy to your Dragapult. There's also 11 energy in the deck, so there's 1 less energy in the deck, too, from what we've been seeing in most Goldengo lists. So it's an interesting take on the Dragapult Dengo deck here, where it's like, no, we're not playing Crispin. We're focusing solely on the Cypher Maniac. I think the Dragapult is just there against Cornerstone. You can manually charge it up. It's not that hard to do. Or even in the Dragapult Goldengo mirror match type situation, if your opponent's just sitting there buttooing you, you can just casually charge up your Dragapult, I guess. And there's also got Genesect in the deck, which I actually have been seeing a lot of talk recently, not only in just Dragapult and stuff, but also even Goldengo. I've been seeing a few Genesects in Goldengo recently. Some talk about that. And the idea of Genesect is you shut off Unfair Stamp, good in the mirror match, you can shut off eSearch Pro. Obviously, shut off A-Specs for your opponent is just broken regardless. So it's a very unique take on this Dragapult Dengo deck. And 2 of them were in top 8 here, both the same 60, played by Grant and Caleb. So there might be something to this deck. We, of course, did have another Dragapult in top 8. It was the Dusknoirless build with the Genesect and no Dusknoir, Genesect, Monkey Dory, Unfair Stamp. And we did have another interesting deck here in top 8. We got that Joltik deck making it in top 8 here. This deck has been getting a lot of hype. I actually just posted a video on this deck over on the main channel today. So if you actually want to go watch some gameplay with this type of deck in action, you should go check out my main channel after watching this video. But yeah, Tyler Matthews did make top 8. His list is a bit different than what we've been seeing Or there's a few different cards from what Sagen Park has been playing. He had a Maractus in the deck for some Retreat Lock. There's a couple Bravery Charms. A Future Booster Capsule is even in the deck. So a bit of a different change from Sagen, but still kind of the same concept here. Just trying to go all in on the Joltik, build up an Iron Hands. You got Pikachu. It's a really interesting toolbox deck that really kind of beat down on the meta right now. Some decks can struggle against it. And then finally, another Dusknorless Dragapult in top 8, once again with the Genesect. So the Dragapult that made top 8 did not run any Dusk in them. They were just focused solely on the Genesect build, which is pretty interesting to see how that was the Dragapult deck that did the best this weekend. And then, of course, Golden Go Dragapult also in top 8. So Dragapult did really good still. It's just we didn't see any Dusknoir in top 8. Raging Bolt outside the top 8 here. Raging Bolt's pretty good right now. I've heard it's even got a good Goldango matchup because you can effectively make your board all one-prizers if you get lucky, and then Goldango really struggles against that. So I've heard some interesting things about Raging Bolt in this format. We'll have to see if Raging Bolt is any good going forward, but it was able to make 9th place, and we had a very cool deck here at 10th place. We had Roaring Moon at the Dunsparce. So I've actually been kind of looking into this deck myself for a YouTube video because this deck was a thing during the Temporal Forces format, last year's rotation, and I was like, could this deck still work in this format? But yeah, it was able to get top 16 at Monterrey. It's got the Duns in there, the Moon, Neutralization Zone as the A-Spec is another interesting decision. It's kind of like the old classic build of this deck. There is a couple fan Rotom, so to help find your Dunsparces early on to set up a pretty good board. But like I said, I've been investigating this deck myself and considering it could be good. Is it better than Ancient Box? Probably, because Ancient Box did lose some key cards, obviously, with the rotation. Another Dango Dragapult here. This one was played by Ross Cawthon, who obviously is a very good player. Was able to make top 16 with Dangopult also, but did not play the build that Grant played. He actually did have the Crispins in the deck. No Genesect either. Just opted for the classic approach of Dangopult that we've been seeing with the Crispins and stuff. Was still able to do pretty well in the tournament, like I said, making it all the way to top 16. Another Goldango in top 16, and this one was the build with no draw, just playing the Scizor. Yeah, Scizor is not bad in the deck right now. Really nice to have in certain scenarios, good in the mirror. Comes up against Terror Box and stuff too. Raging Bolt's another good matchup where the Scizor shines. So it's another just kind of straightforward Dango deck. Got the 3 Cypher in there. The Baby Dango's still in the deck. I feel like the addition of Baby Dango, just that extra attacker for the mirror is nice to have. I know you have the Scizor, but Baby Dango's just an easier card to pull off in the mirror match. But yeah, it's a nice little Goldango 60 there. Then we have a Raging Bolt in top 16 once again, playing the Noctowl engine in the deck. The normal stuff we've been seeing at the Bulls play. We had Diego Casaraga in top 16 with another Dusknorless Dragapult deck, once again running the Genesect in there. So yeah, we haven't seen a Dragapult list yet with Dusknoir. Kind of crazy. This one gonna have Dusknoir? Nope, we got another Dragapult in top 16 with no Dusknoir. So one of the big stories at Monterrey, whatever, there's no Dragapult Dusknoir in the top 16. Kind of crazy to see that. They're all the Genesect heavy build that we saw at Atlanta. And then we have one more Guardian top 16 here. Yeah, no Zoark or anything, so I guess the Henry Chow deck didn't do as well. And we'll have to see if anyone else played it. We have Aiden Koos here, who did play Dragapult Dusknoir, though, bubbled outside of top 16. But yeah, he was playing the Dragapult Dusknoir build, just the more classic approach. There's Bravery Charm over Luxurious Cape, I think. It's like the one change from Andrew Hedrick's list. Let's see here. We got another Terror Box, top 32. I guess like Terror Box, like, I think the deck can still perform well. It really just depends. And maybe this deck has a better matchup against the Genesect build of Dragapult. I'm not too sure on that one. Does the deck have a better matchup against Genesect Pult or the Dusknoir build? I'm not sure. I would imagine the Dusknoir build is maybe slightly more difficult to beat. I don't know, maybe. Another Guardy. This one is the Henry Chow focus build with the Zoark. There's like 1 or 2 changes, I think, from his list. There might be a second Jock, actually, over Double Morty. But yeah, so at least one Henry Chow build of Guardy did make it into top 16. We have another Blissey in top 16. We did see the same 60 as Fernando here with the 4 Monkeys, the Moon, the Cornerstone Ogerpon. Really cool deck. Happy to see this deck actually have a really good showing. Made top 32, not top 16. Sorry, I think I said that wrong. Another Dangopult here. Once again, played by Grant Chen's group of friends, making it into top 32. And then we got another Goldango below it, and this one also is just the more classic approach. Looks like kind of the Bodhi build that we saw. 4 Cypher, 4 Arven, just, yeah, Goldango with no, like, other fluff or anything. Another Dragapult here. No Genesect, but no Dusknoir either. Just Dragapult with none of those cards in it. Very interesting take on the deck, though, not having the Genesect, but just has more supporters overall. You can see, like, 2 Arven, 2 Jock, 2 Crispin. I think that's 2 Brock Scouting. 1 Brock Scouting, okay. Move that over a little bit so you guys can see some of the cards on the side. And then we got another Dragapult Duststorm once again. 2 Jock. Yeah, it's kind of the Hedrick build. Another Guardy here with Secret Box, no Zoroark or anything. And we had a Goldengo to Dunsparce doing well. So another take on Goldengo. The one thing with Goldengo right now is it's very popular, very strong, but everyone's just playing different takes on the deck. We see this Dunsparce build also doing decent in the tournament here. Then the Dunsparce build is still fine. There's no EX, which is interesting. Opted to not run the EX in the deck. Says Baby Goldengo. And it's like, maybe that's just enough to beat the Cornerstone or whatever. Then we got Tablemon here in top 32 with Guardy. Once again, no Zoroark in that build. And then we have another Joltik Toolbox deck in the top 32. Slightly different than what we saw Tyler play in top 8, but similar stuff going on. No Maractus, I guess, obviously in the deck. Outside the top 32, there was another Raging Bolt here. A couple more Guardies. This one's got a Squawk in the deck. And this Guardy here, no Zoroark or anything. So actually only one of the Henry Chow build doing good. It's kind of interesting to see that. We got another Pult Dusknoir with the Cape, similar Andrew Hedrick build. And the highest placing Tropicos here was outside of top 32. It was the build, actually, from Atlanta, it looks like, with the Volcanion in the deck and the Pidgeot. So kind of went back to that build instead of playing the Cornerstone tank build, as it's called. So that's also kind of interesting to see the Volcanion Pidgeot build doing better in this tournament. I guess the Volcanion is just better to have against Goldengo, which was more popular for this tournament, and more top players were actually on Goldengo, so it makes sense to play the Volcanion. Once again, another Raging Bolt here, Broken deck, another Joltik Pikachu deck here. Yep, another build of that. We got another Dragapult Dusknoir here with no Luxurious Cape. Another Tropicos deck. Yeah, this one, okay, this one does have the tank stuff. It's got the Genesect in there and the Cornerstone Ogerpon as opposed to the Pidgeot stuff. And we got another Dragapult Dusknoir there with no Luxurious Cape. And we have a Poison Archaludon top 64. This deck did have a pretty good performance in Atlanta, obviously getting top 16. Kind of surprised to see it do less well. But I guess, once again, a lot of Goldengo in this tournament, which is slightly more difficult for Archaludon to manage. Though I do feel like that matchup is maybe winnable if you can take a lead with Budew item lock. I don't know, it's interesting. It is obviously one of your more like sketchier matchups. Maybe that's why the deck didn't do as well. A couple more Dragapults here, another Dusknoirless build with Genesect. Another Dusknoirless build, once again, with Genesect, and then the one below it, surprise, surprise, also one with Genesect, no Dusknoir. And we have a Flareon deck here in top 64. So again, just kind of riding off the back of a pretty good showing in Atlanta. I think the Flareon deck's pretty solid still. Sylveon's really good right now into Dragapult and stuff. This one has Sparkling Crystal, too, over the Unfair Stamp, which is also interesting to see in that. Another Poison Bridge here. No Budew in this one. Then we have a Charizard Dusknoir to Dunsparce deck in top 64. So Charizard, I think, is still good. It just really sucks that you really just don't have a good time in a Dragapult. But instead of running the birds or any other draw shenanigans, we do see the Dunsparce in the deck instead, giving you that extra bit of draw with Monterrey draw. I've done a video on this deck before in like the Prismatic format, and the deck was decent. So seeing it have like a decent run here in Monterrey is pretty cool to see. Yeah, Dunsparce Engine is a lot of cool things you can do with it. And Charizard's still a good deck. Like, Charizard's really good against anything that really specifically is not Dragapult. Speaking of which, we got Rahul playing the Grand Chen Dangopult here in top 64. And then we had another Flareon deck below it played by Zach Lesage. So the same 60 as what we saw earlier with Gabe there. And then we got another Goldengo, and this one was Goldengo Scizors. Played both of the EX and the one prizer in the deck for the Cornerstone matchup. But it was kind of like the Bodhi build. You see the 4 Arven for Cypher. No Iono in the deck. Double Turo is interesting, actually, too. We got another Raging Bolt here. The classic Raging Bolt. No Owls, just straight Turbo Bolt or whatever you want to call it. I guess we'll call it Classic Bolt. Not even Aries Zero, just triple Jamming Tower. And then we got my friend Blake here from Tough Squad on the Genesect Dragapult deck. And then, we got Kieran Farah playing in the Frostlass deck. So, yeah, Kieran, he's obviously played a lot of Lugia in the past format. In this tournament, he decided to play Frostlass. I mean, Kieran's already got, like, his invite locked up. I'm sure he was just wanting to have some fun. But Frostlass isn't even that bad of a deck right now. Its matchup spread is okay. Like, you're good into, like, Goldengo and stuff like that. Probably good into, like, Raging Bolt. I would imagine your matchup against Dragapult is fine, especially if they're not playing Dusknoir. This deck feels like it just farms the Dusknoirless Dragapult deck pretty easily. Which is nice. So if there's going to be more Dusknoirless Dragapult, Frostlass isn't even that bad. We did have a Archaludon Scizor deck here, also doing decent in the tournament. So that's cool to see. We had another Joltik Toolbox deck here, doing well. Another Dragapult Dusknoir here in top 64. Another Dragapult, no Dusknoir. No Genesect, though. Another Guardy. This one did have a Klefki in it, but no Zoroark. And then we had another Poison Bridge here with the Budew in the deck. And then another Pikachu deck in top 64. So quite a few of these in the top 64 of this tournament. So like I said, this Joltik deck, keep your eye out on it, folks. Then we got another Chaladon top 64 with the Wooloo and the Scizor and the Toedscruel. So a super teched out Archaladon deck for this tournament is interesting. The Toedscruel is not terrible against Goldengo. Like I've been experimenting with Archaladon with Genesect. It's not really doing enough against Goldengo, I've been finding, but having the Archaladon with the Toedscruel makes a bit more of a difference, I guess. But you do have to get that thing down before they gust it, which is, I guess, harder to do. So I don't know. Just play Toedscruel and Genesect. There you go, boom. Just anti-Goldengo or Chaladon. Not even bad. Goldengo, I think, is going to be like 10% deck plus in Milwaukee. Another Bolt here in top 64. And that was top 64 of this tournament. Outside, we did have the Guardy Zoroark deck here. And then we had another Joltik deck below that. Another Dragapult Dusknoir with the Bravery Charm and stuff. We had another Goldengo. So we had the Bodhi build with the 4 Cypher for Arvin. No other fluff. Another Raging Bolt here. Another classic approach to Bolt, though, with no Owls. Had a Cornerstone Ogerpon in the deck, however, though, to be a little bit more, I guess, like anti-meta. Another Flareon deck here outside top 64 with the Unfair Stamp. Another Raging Bolt with the Noctowls. Another Terror Box here. Yeah, another like classic Terror Box approach. Another Poison Bridge with no Budew or anything. The Secret Box in there. And then we have another Guardy with the Zoroark here. And there's a Trobagos with the Pidgeot and the Volcanion. So I guess there's like 2 different variations of Trobagos now. One with the Volk and one with the Cornerstone and stuff like that. I don't know which one's better. I don't really play a lot of Trobagos, so I couldn't tell you, but they both seem decent. More Dragapult, no, Genesect and Dusknoir. Another Terror Box here. Playing a Cornerstone Ogerpon in there. Another Goldengo to Dunsparce with the Baby Dango, Monkey Dory, Lavencia in there, too, and the Rocky Helmet. So it's what we've seen at Atlanta. Another Bolt with the Noctowls. Another Dusknoir Dragapult here. Jamming Tower is interesting. You see, that's something I feel like Dragapult can start playing now is Jamming Tower to be a bit more disruptive in like Mirror and Guardian and stuff like that. We'll have to see if they start playing that card more often than not. We'll see. More Bolt, and then that one does have Cornerstone in it. But below it, we got an Zoroark in day 2. Let's go, baby. I love this deck. Really fun to play. I did a video on this deck also recently on the channel, on the main channel. I got top 4 at Elite Cup with it. Really cool deck. I think it's actually underrated right now because I feel like this deck has an insanely good matchup against both Dragapult and Gardevoir. Just we have to figure out the best way to build it. I like this approach here, just playing a lot more draw in the deck, as opposed to just 4 Arvin, 4 Iona, which I don't like. Though, Arvin's probably needed in the deck overall, but I do like it. Really cool. Another Goldengo with the double Scizor package in there. Another Bolt. Another Dragapult with the Genesect, no Dusknoir. We got another Dragapult Dusknoir below it. We got a couple more Dengos here. We got another Goldengo with a 1/1 line of Zoroark. Okay, so just kind of the classic approach with the Zoroark. I don't hate it. I don't know, like, we did see a couple of Zoroark build Goldengos at Atlanta. They were playing like a Leafeon and stuff, though. I don't know, like, Zoroark seems okay in the deck. And, like, my issue is, like, the same thing when I'm playing, like, a Revavroom in the Goldengo deck. It just gets trapped in the active really easily. 2 retreat cost really sucks. If it had a 1 retreat cost, Zoroark would be broken. But, I don't know, we'll see. We had a Goldengo to Dunsparce below it. The Ventral Punch. And we got a couple more Trobagos here. This one also, the Volk build with the Pidgeot. And then we got another Trobagos here, the Tank build with the Cornerstone. And then another Flareon below it. This one also playing the Sparkling Crystal. Another Poison Archaladon with the Budew. And then, it's got a Cloth in the deck even, too. The return of Cloth. Crazy. And then above that, I actually missed out another Goldengo Dunsparce here. With the Scizor. I like this. I don't know, if I was playing Goldengo Dunsparce right now, I would probably be playing a 1/1 or 2/1/2 Scizor line. Or 2/1/2 doesn't even make any sense. I definitely would be playing Scizor in Dango Dunsparce right now. If I was playing Dango Dunsparce, I would probably slide in a 1/1 Scizor. So I think it is worth playing, but it's cool. Nonetheless. All right, we got Terror Box here. Pretty normal stuff. There's a Dragapult Dusknoir I missed out on, too. And below that, we had another Goldengo with a 1/1 Zoroark in there. We had another Goldengo here. Yeah, Bodhi build. The Dragapult, the Genesect. What else? All right, back on track. Raging Bolt, the Noctowl. Another Joltik deck here. So I'm not playing the Galvantula, though. Just opted for just straight Joltik. Also playing a Power Glass. That's interesting with Pikachu. I guess that lets you loop the energy with Crispin a lot easier, which is nice. Not bad, actually. Then we got another Terror Box. Once again, the other one's got a Cornerstone Ogerpon in there. Hey, hold up. Ogre's Mask. Is this Ogre's Mask first day 2 on Limitless? That's kind of cool, actually. And we got a Slowking in day 2. Always love to see it. It's a really cool deck. We've been seeing it kind of more like lower half of day 2, but it's still a really fun deck to play. And I'm still going to make another video on this deck when it very soon on the channel. I mean, hey, play it now while there's no Shaman in the format. Like I said, Shaman coming out next set might make it worse. We got another Terror Box here with a Budu in the deck. Okay. It's also got a Penny in there, too. We got Joltik once again with the Maractus. Looks like same 60 as Tyler Matthews. Let's see here. Another Guardy with double Budu, no Zoark. Another Tropicos, this one with the Cornerstone. Another Raging Bolt with the Cornerstone Ogre Pawn in there. Another Dango Dunsparce with the 1/1 Scizor. Yeah, I do like this. Vengeful Punch, Levincia. Decent stuff, decent stuff. And we got another Dango Dragapult. Different than Grand Chancellor. Does have 1 Crispin, 1 Lana's Aid to help out a little bit. No Cypher, though. But, yeah, Goldango Dragapult did pretty well this tournament. I don't know. Is the deck real? I don't know. Could be. Dragapult Dusknoir here doing well. Another Raging Bolt. The Noctowls. Clicked on that already. Let's see here. We got another Poison Bridge. And there we go. We got a Hobzation in day 2. Is this its first day 2? Like the Hobzation archetype? Can't remember if it got day 2 in Atlanta. Yeah, I can't remember. I don't think it did. I think I was talking about that in the video. I don't know. Anyway, Hobzation in day 2. The Monkey Dory approach to the deck. No Archaladon, just Dark Energy, Monkey Dory, and Devo and stuff. Cool stuff. Pult Dusknoir with a Monkey Dory. We got another Terror Box here. An Iron Bundle in there and a Cornerstone Ogre Pawn. A couple more Dragapult Dust. We'll just quickly click through these real quick. This is like the one deck where it's like we were just kind of seeing similar lists. Another Flareon made it day 2. Once again, playing the unfair stamp. The A-Spec. Another Guardy. Windows Arc. Another Raging Bolt. Just classic approach Raging Bolt. Once again, no Owls. And then, we had a Sarah Legend day 2 with a Rev of Room. See, another deck I do want to try out soon on the channel is Sarah Ledge. I do think it's actually pretty decent. The 1/2 Rev of Room is interesting. The Monkey Dory is pretty good. Blender's A-Spec seems correct. Yeah, cool stuff. Definitely want to try out Sarah Ledge on the channel soon. We had a Poltazard in day 2. Looks like what we kind of saw with Jackson Ford's list with the Budus and stuff and whatnot. Another Terror Box. This one does have that Iron Thorns tech in the deck we've been seeing a little bit of. Another Dragapult Dusknoir here. And then we had a Walls in day 2. So another deck that was mysteriously absent from Atlanta was Walls. But Walls made it day 2 in Monterrey, and it was actually playing a 1/1 Blissey. So Blissey, bro, this was Blissey's tournament, man. I'm just saying. Blissey in day 2 with Walls, cool stuff. Who knows if Walls is any good? Will it continue its streak of making day 2? We'll have to see what happens in Milwaukee. But this is Walls' first day 2 so far in the new format. Another Bolt here with the Owls. Another Dragapult with no Genesect, no Dusknoir. Another Raging Bolt below it. The Owls. We got Terror Box also here with the Budu in the deck. A couple more Pult Dusknoirs. One with a Toadscroll. See, I don't hate that either. Like, Dragapult definitely should probably check for Goldango going forward, whether it's the Genesect or the Toadscroll. Just my opinion. Another Guardy with a 2/2 Zoark this time, upping the line a little bit more from our draw. Another Dango Dunsparce. Yo, with the 1/1 Grafaiai. See, I've thought about this card myself. Like, me and my group of friends have been talking about playing Grafaiai and Goldango. We were talking a bit about it for, like, Atlanta. I was like, no way this card is good. I think the advantage you get with Grafaiai is it's a one-prize Goldango, basically. It's got, like, the same attack almost. But it's a dark type, so you can actually hit Gardevoir for weakness. So it can come up a little bit in the Guardy matchup. So we'll have to see if that is anything worth playing. I was fan Rotom Dunsparce in there, too. It's interesting. Very cool, 60. Another Dragapult Dragapult Dusknoir, sorry. And then we have another Goldango Duns with the 1/1 Scizor. What's this? Clefairy Box in day 2. Yo! Bro's even flexing on them with the Clefable with Metronome. Yeah, that is baller. And this is definitely this Clefable's first Limitless page, 100%. Even this Clefairy. That is, bro, baller artwork, bro. Bro's just chilling. That's cool. That's really cool, actually. 4 Lily's Pearl, just like straight Clefairy, 4 Lily's Pearl, 4 Ogre Pond to move the energy and energy switch it off to the Clefairy build up on a turn. That is awesome. Love to see it. Nice. And we got Flareon here. Once again, another Dragapult Dusk. Another Tropicos. No Cornerstone. Just kind of a bit more straightforward approach. Has a Hero Escape too, a C-Spec. Then we got another Goldango here with the Scizors in the deck, the EX and the normal one. What else? Terror Box here. Another Raging Bolt with no Owls, just another turbo build. We got Goldango to Duns once again with the Dunsparce and the Levincia in there, looks like. Another Guardy. This one does, once again, Henry Chow build the Zoark. We got another Charizard in day 2. This one was the Charizard Pidgeot build, however, the classic approach to this deck. I mean, I want this deck to be good so bad. Like, it sucks that Dragapult has to be BDIF, man. Let Charizard shine. I'd rather Charizard be BDIF than Dragapult. That's just my opinion, though. I know a lot of people do hate Charizard for some reason. Raging Bolt once again. Another Tropicos deck with the Pidgeot and the Volcanion package in there. And then, what was this? Another Dragapult. And then we had a Moon in day 2 with the Poison Turbo Moon. Yo, with a Wellspring Ogerpon and Energy Sticker. So a very different approach to this Turbo Moon deck. I kind of like the idea of Wellspring, actually. Like, it makes sense. Wellspring with Power Glass? Yo, are we cooking something? Because, like, one of the really cool decks, actually, at the end of last format was that Moon Power Glass Greninja deck. But that deck wasn't able to, unfortunately, do anything because of rotation. So I wonder if, like, this Wellspring approach is, like, kind of revived that. I definitely might look into that, actually. Yo, crazy Goldengo deck. Goldengo Dodrio Scizor. Dodrio's interesting. It's an extra attacker, but you also get Zooming Draw, so he draws you more cards. And you can actually use Dodrio with Monkey Dory for more damage output, which is actually really cool. This build also has Judge, Surfer, and Brock in the deck. It's a very interesting supporter lineup there. That's cool to see. Another Dragapult with no Dusk, and then we got another Dengopult here in day 2 with a Klefki in the deck and Genesect. So it was kind of similar to what we saw Grand Shem play, but there's no like Vengeful Punch or anything in there. It does a rescue board though for the Genesect. Another Poison Bridge. Another Terror Box here. Another Raging Bolt. Another Dengo Dunsparce with the 1/1 Scizor. I like it. And then we got another Dragapult. Yo, Dragapult Zoark. Okay. Now you're cooking. They got Crispin. They can attack with Reshiram in the deck too. Legacy Energy even is the spec. Pretty crazy, 60. You're drawing a lot of cards. You have Trade and Recon Directive. Yeah, it's kind of broken. What the heck? That's wild. Crazy stuff right there. More Raging Bull with Noctowl. Another Guardy. No Zoark. Another Pulsar in day 2. Kind of like the Jackson forward approach. More Terror Box stuff here. Pretty simple list. A couple more Moons here. Guess one not playing the Wellspring, but just more classic approach to the Poison Turbo Moon deck. Another more classic approach here. All right, cool stuff. We had another Raging Bull with the Owls. And then we had the Zoark deck once again day 2, playing a Hoopa EX, which I'm pretty sure this is here to attack Cornerstone Ogerpon, as opposed to playing the Okidogi. I don't know, it's really cool to see this end Zoark deck in day 2. I like the deck a lot. It's fun to play. Cool stuff. I think it's underrated. Can't really speak much more about it. All right, another Dragapult there. Raging Bull once again with Owls. Guardy with the 1/1 Zoark. Okay. And has Brilliant Blender to its spec as opposed to Secret Box. Interesting stuff to see. Another Dragapult Zoark deck. Okay, but this one does not have the Reshiram, but it does play the 2/1 Zoark line. So kind of like what we saw with Henry Chow's build with Guardy. But now they're putting in the Dragapult deck. Yo, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. And then we got Frostlass Monkey Dory once again day 2. Yeah, this deck's awesome. A couple more Poison Bridges to look at here. Let's see, Poison Bridge, another Poison Bridge. Another Dragapult, Dusknoir. And then we had another Charizard Pidgey on day 2. This one's playing the Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh's kind of cute. Does 200 damage to a Terra Pokemon. And then another Dengopult with the Crispins and stuff. Another Raging Bolt. Another Guardy with the Zoark. So we see the Henry build. And then, yo, we got a Mamoswine Blaziken deck in day 2. Awesome sauce. Playing the 1/1 Annihilate. That's interesting. I wonder if that's just there to, like, I guess you have, like, that insta-KO option with Destined Fight. And take out Cornerstone Ogerpon with it. What's the A-spec then? Trolley? Okay. I guess you can reverse energy to it. That's cool. Another Goldengo Scizor here in day 2. Another Guardy. No Zoark in that one, but I have a Squawkabilly. Another Turbo Moon with the poison stuff. Another Dragapult. This one's got Genesect in there. Another Gardevoir. No Zoark. Secret Box. A-spec. And then we got another Frostlass deck. Whoa! Frostlass Toolbox. This is not really like the Budu deck. There's a lot more going on. We see a Clefairy in there. We see the Dunsparce line. We see Wellspring Ogerpon also in the deck with Energy Switch. Very crazy stuff. Yo, Future Box made day 2. That's cool. That's pretty solid. I mean, Iron Hand is a really good card. Is it better than the Joltik deck, though, is the question. Another Dengopult in day 2. It's got the Crispins in there. Raging Bolt in day 2. We're almost done here, so we'll just quickly skim through these. Another Archaludon with the Scizor in there in day 2. Another Tropicos Tank Approach with the 1/1 of Flamigo. And still had Pidgeot, I guess. Didn't see that. Another Terror Box here. And then another Raging Bolt with the Cornerstone Ogerpon and the Owls. Another Dusknoir Dragapult. A couple more Bolts here. We'll just quickly go through these real quick. We're almost done. Almost done looking at all the decks in day 2. Another Poison Bridge. Goldengo to Dunsparce. And then another Dusknoir Pult. Dengopult once again. Playing the one of Crispin. Yeah, a bit different than the G-Shen build. And then finally we got another Bolt with the Owls. Dusknoir, Dragapult, Goldengo Dunsparce, once again with the Grafaiite. Look at that. And finally, to round things up, We had a Turbo Raging Bolt. And, yo, it's got the Sandy Shocks. This card's... Wait, that's not Sandy Shocks. This is Sandy Shocks. Yeah, this is kind of cool. This card is not bad at all. It's Glaring Moltres for Raging Bolt, bro. Except you can only use it when your opponent takes first 2 prizes. But it's cool to see in the deck, nonetheless. But there you go. That's all the decks in day 2 at Monterrey. I think the big thing to talk about, Goldango, once again, did really good. Guardian won another regional. We saw Blissey, Joltik Toolbox making a name for itself. But the big thing, too, I think, was the Dragapults doing well. We're not the Dusknoir build. A lot of the Dusknoir builds were not in top 16. All the Dragapult builds were either playing it with Goldango or with, like, the Genesect no Dusknoir package. So, interesting to see the Dusknoir Dragapult deck on the decline. I think this is going to cause a bit of a shift heading into Milwaukee for sure. So, I got more content talking about Milwaukee and stuff, I think, as we get closer to approach it, as we see the evolution of this metagame more. But yeah, it's really cool to see what did well. Some innovations for sure. Some interesting new archetypes popping up, like the Blissey and the Joltik deck doing well. But if you enjoyed the video here, I'll leave a link to Luminous if you want to go check out any of the decks for yourself. Catch you all in another video very soon in the second channel. Subscribe down below if you're new. Catch you all later. Bye-bye.